books, Management Accounting Techniques, page 225. Bill's Bicycle Limited started producing a new bicycle, the Freewheeler electric bicycle, on the 1st of December 2005. The owner has asked you to produce statements of profit or loss using both marginal and absorption costing methods, similar to those produced in question 6.3. Some information is being provided to you on a worksheet, 6.4 BBMC AC statements, and you must complete the following statements. You've been given the following information: frame making £16.50, and it takes you 3 hours to make each unit. Assembly team get paid £18 per hour, and it takes them 5 hours to complete each unit. Fixed overhead production for the year is 862,400. We need to save the worksheet in the appropriate location with this name. On the worksheet 6.4 BB MCAC statements, we need to insert the labour hours, the rate, the information for each department in B7 to B10, and fixed production overheads in B11. So using the information here, frame labour hours 3, each getting paid £16.50. Assembly hours 5, each getting paid £18. Fixed overheads for the year 862,400. We're being asked to use the appropriate formulas to calculate the sales revenue in C15 and E15. So sales revenue is equals open bracket how much it cost us to sell, or what the selling price is, multiplied by the number of units that we sold. And that will be the same here. Selling price multiplied the number of units sold. And the cost for the marginal costs, B17 to 19, and absorption D17 to 19. So B17, materials, equals open brackets. Materials 75 multiplied by the number of units produced. Labour, open brackets, 3 hours times hourly rate, close bracket, multiplied by number of units produced, equals open brackets. Labour assembly, 5 hours multiplied by hourly rate multiplied by number of units produced. I'm going to do the same for absorption, equals open brackets 75 times units produced. Labour, open brackets, 3 multiplied by 1650 multiplied by units produced, equals open brackets 5 multiplied by hourly rate multiplied by number of units produced. As you can see, all the same, because it doesn't change whether it's marginal or absorption, but this is where it starts to change. So we're being told to link the fixed overhead productions in the cell marginal costing in column B and D. So fixed overheads is here, equals link, and equals link. Calculate subtotals where appropriate and format these with a single border at the top of the cell. Using the appropriate formulas, calculate the closing inventory value to be included in the appropriate place in marginal in column B and absorption in column D. So let's do marginal first. Well, first of all, I need to add these up. So I'm going to go to formula, auto sum, home. I want a top border. Oops, wrong one. I needed to be on that cell. Top border. Okay. Now closing inventory. Well, first of all, I need to know how much it is for 1 unit, how much it costs me for 1 unit, and then I need to times that by the number of units remaining. So equals open brackets. My total cost divided by number of units produced, close brackets, multiplied by open brackets, number of units produced minus units sold. So units remaining will be 2, because 22 minus 20 equals 2, times by the CPU, which will give me 429,000. I now need to minus these two together, so I need another top border, and I'm going to go to formulas, and I'm going to type it in myself, equals, open brackets, this minus this, close brackets. This gives me 4,290,000. Okay, so that's in column B, and I need to find out closing inventory. Cool, that's done. I now need to do the absorption costing. So under the absorption costing, I need to add all of these up. So I'm just going to go auto sum and make sure all my variable costs and fixed overheads are added up. Now I need to work out my closing inventory. So the same formula, open brackets, my total costs divided by total units produced to find the CPU, multiplied, open bracket, total units produced minus total units sold times by the cost per unit. Okay, using an appropriate formula, calculate the cost of sales in C26 and the gross profit in C27. So C26 is here. I'm going to add these two together, so I'm going to go equals sum, open brackets, these two added, which gives me 5,152,400,000, and then I need to work out my gross profit, so that will be revenue minus cost of sales, which gives me 3,847,600,000. I need to do the same formula for net profit. So I've done the gross profit, C26, C27, now the net profit. So I've got my expenses worked out. My total of expenses have been added up. So I just need to go equals gross profit minus expenses, and that's my net profit. Using the appropriate formulas, calculate the cost of sales in E26, which is here. E26, cost of sales for absorption. So I added these up, but I forgot to put the line. That's better. Now I need to do the cost of sales. So equals open brackets. C22 less closing inventory gives me 5,074,000, and then I need to work out the gross profit, revenue minus cost of sales, and again expenses are there, total of expenses are there, so I just need to go equals open brackets gross profit minus net profit, close brackets, and that's that task done. Format the titles in rows 12 to 14. So 12 to 14 in bold. Merge and center titles for each statement B13, C13. Merge and center, and D13 to E13. Merge and center. Using an appropriate formula, calculate the additional profit under absorption costing cell in E34. So E34 is there. So I need to basically use a formula to absorption costing E34 using the appropriate formula to production overheads per unit. Right. So, do a formula equals open brackets. I want to look at the additional profit under absorption costing. So I'm going to go E33 minus C33, close brackets. That gives me 78,400. It's saying using the appropriate formula, calculate the production overhead absorbed per unit in cell 36. So I need to know how much the overhead absorption rate is. So I'm going to go equals open brackets. I'm going to go the fixed overheads, which is this one here. Overhead absorption rate, yep. So that's fixed overheads divided by activity. So I'm going to go D23 divided by number of units produced, which gives me 3920. But it's telling me to use round to 2 decimal places. Even though it is 2 decimal places, the round formula's not there. So just after the equals, I'm going to type in round, and at B3 I'm going to do comma 2 to 2 decimal places. It says fill cells B13 to C33. So B13 to C33. Yep. Pale yellow. Fill D13 to E33 to green. Cells A34 to E36. A34 to E36. Just notice I've done the formula in the wrong cell, so I need to amend that. In blue. So I'm just going to move that down. And there we have it. This task is now complete.